no, everyone who comes to my parties comes in a 7 Series BMW. My friend says then I'm not coming because I don't have a 7 Series BMW. एक ज़माना था जो मैं बिना सोचे खरीद लेती थी, भाई यहाँ हैंडबैग खरीदो. कल किसी ने मुझे कहा कि आप पार्टीज में जाने के सिवाय और क्या करते हैं?
वो जो मीन कमेंट्स हैं आपने पढ़े? किसी ने फीमेल औरी कहा, किसी ने कहा, तो
मेरे बारे में?
हाँ, how does it affect you, these kind of things?
I must say I'm oblivious to negative comments. I've not read any. I had a very devastating engagement. I had an abusive relationship where I hurt my spine. 4 hours after we got married, we had a absolutely devastating accident. I spent the first year of my life in a hospital. The one thing that I haven't done is write my own story.
You're very impressed with Amir Khan. You always said he's your inspiration.
So I've interviewed Amir many times. I've never found him arrogant. My father-in-law is from Kashmir and a very handsome, famous general called General JamVwal, who was part of Operation Blue Star.
First of all, thank you so much, Nisha, for coming. I know you're not keeping too well, but that's very sweet of you. And we're really happy that you're on this podcast because we are going to get to see दुनिया या सोसाइटी का वो साइड हम देखेंगे आपके ज़रिए जो बहुत सारे लोग देख के एस्पायर करते हैं कि हमें ऐसा बनना है और आप उस सोसाइटी को बिलोंग करती है. आप कॉलमनिस्ट हैं, ब्रांड कंसल्टेंट हैं, इन्फ्लुएंसर हैं, ब्लॉगर हैं, सोशल एक्टिव वर्कर हैं, craft crusader, and you're what accessibility crusader, so you fight for accessible places for people with handicaps, right?
Yes, absolutely.
With impairments. So.
You're one of the few people who's understood that.
Thank you. That's why I'm your friend, because you have to be very intelligent to be your friend.
Thank you.
So first of all, would you like to eat something? Can I move this towards you?
I don't mind because I'm permanently hungry.
Yes, please. You can keep munching.
Unlike the girls of today, I'm always hungry.
So please reach out whenever you want. And as regarding that boy who you saw with tattered shirt, that happens to be my son.
So I've heard of tattered jeans, but I've never heard of a tattered shirt until today.
Yeah, he's I think the pioneer in that. And it's so irritating when he leaves the house. Can you please change your shirt? He says, Mom, that's the in thing. And so you didn't think he was my son because he was wearing a tattered shirt?
Well, I thought I would suggest to you that you should buy some clothes for your
production
unit.
Yeah, I'm sure if we make good money with this podcast, we will. So tell me something about your childhood.
I've had a charmed childhood and I'm an only child. But there was one thing I grew up with. My mother always said, Pada bhara bala ya mara bhala. So it's a Kayast saying. I'm not a Kayast, but my mother said either die or study. So I have a tiger mom and I can't say it was an easy childhood because I had a lot of pressure to perform and to come within the first few students. And when I failed math, it was a big thing and my father helped me hide my report. And one day my
From
mother...
your mother?
Yeah. And one day my mother said to my father that, can I borrow some change? Where's the change? And he said, it's in the cupboard. And she went to look for change and she found my report. So my father and I got such a, shouting from her because he had hidden the report. And she said, I'm sure you're going to become a liftman. There's no future for you. Your cousins are at Stanford and they're at Harvard and your cousin Love has patents on his name at Stanford. But you are going to become a liftman.
With due apologies to liftmen, I mean, they also have a life, but yes.
Yeah, but they don't have aspirations to education.
Yes.
So that's the point I'm making.
So it's this, yeah, I understand. And the same thing like in Paris on the railway station, you have the ticket collector. They keep punching.
Yeah.
Next. They don't have anything. They do that day in and day out and they're
day out,
yeah. They're content
so
with that.
I'm still very close to my parents. And
I met your mom. She's very
intelligent. They're very intelligent, both of them. They met at Tata Institute and fell in love and got married and they're still very much in love. So the precedence I have is of a very loving family, a very, happy childhood with them, full of pressure, imbued with performance pressure, but it was very happy. And that performance pressure and that happiness still typifies my entire existence. The happiness of a home. Because Kunika, I think that unless you have that happiness within your ecosystem, you can't project it in your world. So if if I was to give up everything and bring happiness to my home, I would do that. And I feel there's so much, ambition in women today to perform in the world, that I think if there was one message I was to give to the world, it would be that ambition is great, and to be a power woman, to be an achiever is great. But, you do a lot for a home and for a family and for the partner or the man that you love, if you want a foundation that's strong. Because once your foundation is strong, you have the whole world as an oyster.
Yes, you're saying that you have to have that rock solid foundation,
Which
or
is
that,
something that I have.
assurance. Yes, and even your husband. I mean, we're going to come to that later on.
So I feel that is the wind beneath my wings. That is the beauty of my life, because I have that strength and that applause from that one human being that matters to me.
So you're saying basically what आप जो कह रहे हैं कि औरतों को अपने गृहस्थी में, अपने पति, अपने बच्चों में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, ताकि उनको वो सिक्योर प्लेटफॉर्म मिले जिससे वो अपनी उड़ान भर सके.
मैं ये समझती हूँ कि आजकल के ज़माने में औरत इतना महत्व देते हैं पूरे दुनिया को, अपने करियर को, और उसमें वो नेगोशिएशन और लड़ाई में पड़ जाते हैं. वो उसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि मैं समझती हूँ कि जब हम कुछ देते हैं सेल्फलेसली, तो यूनिवर्स हमें भरपूर वापस देता है.
वाह. आप दुनिया के लिए क्या हैं, अपने लिए क्या है और दुनिया के लिए क्या है?
कल किसी ने मुझे कहा कि आप पार्टीज में जाने के सिवाय और क्या करते हैं. और एक और फेसबुक में मुझे मैसेज मिला कि आपकी तो दुनिया में तो बस फूल के
गुलदस्ते हैं,
फूल ही हैं और गार्डन ही हैं, तो आपको क्या मालूम कि दुख और दर्द क्या है. और आप जैसे लोग हैं जो पढ़ते हैं, जो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हैं, जानते हैं कि मैं एक कॉलमनिस्ट हूँ, और आप जैसे लोग जानते हैं कि मैं लेखक हूँ और मेरे ज़िंदगी में संघर्ष भी हुआ है. तो मैं दुनिया के लिए मैं क्या हूँ वो तो मैं अभी भी समझ रही हूँ कि क्या है दुनिया में मेरी जो पहचान है. पर मेरे लिए जो द वे आई लुक एट माई सेल्फ इज़ as a giver. I can't go anywhere without sharing and giving.
You're always getting gifts for people. Like even today you got something from
No, that's because I love you. And we go back 25 years or more. We've been the closest of friends through all our journeys.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And we've both been through so much trial. So for people like you, I'm an intelligent person. In my view, I'm a giver. I'm a person who wants to go back from this world after having done something to change the world. I want to make that difference. And I want to have lived having thought that I did what I could for myself and for the world. तो मैंने जब कोविड हुआ मैंने सोचा कि did I do everything that I set out to do? And my answer was yes.
Wow, that's
I've written books, I've written columns, I've acted also.
You're an architect also.
I'm an architect, I've done stage shows, I've been friends with the most loving people, I've married the man I had dreamt of. Women dream of princes. I've dreamt of a prince and I've married him. And I've done what I could for my parents also. I've been... when I was young, I told my father, don't worry, you don't have a son, I'm your son. I dreamt of being, there for my parents. I never wanted my parents to think, oh, they don't have a son.
No.
I've been a son to my parents. I've pretty much done all that I set out to do. The one thing that I haven't done is write my own story. I think it would inspire a lot of people. So I've had publishers who approached me, very big publishers, but I wasn't ready. And now I am. So now I'm going to set about that one thing.
Okay. And when you say that you made a change in society, you want to make a change, what have you done on that
So I set up ACT Now, Accessibility and Environment. These are the two causes I'm very close to. I want to make India accessible. India is the one country in the world that doesn't have ramps, even in orthopedic clinics.
Yes.
You know, there are orthopedics who are on the first floor and don't have a lift. So imagine if somebody has a fracture, how is he going to reach an orthopedic surgeon to consult?
Yeah.
So India's in that one respect insensitive, and I feel that we need ramps everywhere. And the few places that have a ramp, would you believe, they don't. They have saman
Kept on the
ramp. So there's this one cinema that didn't have a ramp going to the bathroom. So at a movie screening, this lady comes to me and says, "Ma'am, can I have a photograph with you?" And I said, "Sure." And she said, "I own so-and-so cinema." And I said, "Oh, wait a minute, I want to talk to you. You know,
God,
your bathroom doesn't have a ramp." And she said, "एक मिनट मैं आती हूँ, मैं वापस आती हूँ."
And she
ran away. And then I took them to court. And so I get a call saying, "Arey, we are friends. Why didn't you tell me?" I said,
I
"Your
tried
owner
telling
ran
you."
away.
She ran away.
Yeah. So, sometimes people just don't respond or react unless you take them to court. So I've got a kick-ass lawyer with me who also is part of the petition. So she's not only fighting the case. Abha Singh is a firebrand who's taken BMC to court with me, has taken lots of buildings. So BMC luckily is very cooperative. They're trying to make all their public...
And now new buildings are all getting ramps.
All ramps.
Yes.
But private places, private restaurants, private hotels are very, very insensitive. And they don't do it. And so we take them to court. So every month we're taking more people to court.
Abha Singh ji also fights for the manual scavengers.
Yes.
And
Absolutely. So I'm part of that with her. I've offered my services.
That's wonderful. So, आपकी पर्सनल लाइफ में भी काफ़ी हाइज एंड लोज थी. कुछ उसके बारे में बताना चाहेंगे? आप अपने हस्बैंड से कैसे मिले और उसके बाद वहाँ से शुरू करिए.
तो मेरी पर्सनल लाइफ में हाइज एंड लोज वैसे नहीं है क्योंकि आई हैव ऑलवेज हैड द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल रिलेशनशिप्स. तो वो हाइज एंड लोज पर्सनल लाइफ में नहीं है जितने में फिजिकल
सर्कमस्टेंशियल है लेकिन इमोशनल नहीं है.
सो आई हैव ब्यूटिफुल पेरेंट्स एंड आई हैव द मोस्ट ब्यूटिफुल हस्बैंड इन द होल यूनिवर्स. So there's been no low on that, and I, from my heart, hand on the Bhagavad Gita, I have the most kind, thoughtful and magical husband in the universe.
Lovely.
So I don't have that. There, I've never seen a low, touch wood. But yes, I mean, 4 hours after we got married, we had a absolutely devastating accident. I spent the first year of my life in a hospital. And I think I was fairly brave. He was fairly brave. We bounced back into life. So after I spent the first year in hospital, I will share with you that I went through anxiety. I went through low self-esteem. I was unable to cope with Bombay.
But why? It was not your fault. Why did you feel like that?
Because, I mean, you spend a year in hospital, Kunika. You're not able to, be in a glitzy, glamorous world without thinking something's wrong with you, something's wrong with the world. Why me syndrome? Life is not the same. After looking at, hospital instruments and a room, you go back into the world and you... to suddenly go into a normal universe is not easy. You find that difficult to understand?
No. I'm asking because I want to know that what goes on in a person's mind when it's not their fault, and yet not for anything else.
All the more
for other people to understand that.
When it's not their fault, all the more you wonder why me, and then you have to cope with why not me. Then you start learning, you unlearn everything you've learned about victimization and about the fact that, hey...
why did God choose you? Why not me? He chose me because I was strong.
He chose so many other people for so many other calamities. You bloody well cope. And, my husband literally kicked me out and said, hey, go and do a course. I did a special effects course on cinema. He set up Nisha JamVwal Design. One of my first projects was Jaipur Airport, which was a very prestigious project. And Airports Authority of India interviewed me, and they were like, oh, she's so young, what can, ye kya karegi ye, isse to. So I said, sir, have a look at my presentation, and if you're not happy, you have the whole world at your feet. And they were flabbergasted, and they chose me.
So
and
fine, you did it.
I won awards for Jaipur Airport. I've done INS Delhi Wardroom, the warship. I've done ICICI. I've done some of the biggest projects in India. I've done celebrity homes. I consulted with Zeenat Aman for a home. She's one of the lovely people.
Yeah.
I was very friendly with her, and we used to go to Chor Bazaar to find her furniture. So cultured, so gracious. And Lisa Ray. Lisa was going through a bad time. I was going through, all this performance pressure and anxiety. And we were sitting at her home, and I was doing up her home purely as a friend. I didn't charge her at all. I've done a lot of work, from the love of my heart. And I started painting the suitcase of the carpenter. They have that sanduk. And she said, why are you wasting it on this? You paint on the wall. So I said, are you sure? And I started painting on her wall. And I couldn't stop. So she kept baking something she used to call calzones, and she made quiche, and she used to make these grand, breads, and we were eating the whole day
and you were painting.
And she ordered a ladder. I was climbing, and I made the moon on the ceiling.
Like Michelangelo.
I literally, and then the painting went from this wall to the ceiling to the other side of the wall. And BBC style came to cover it. And my work, while I may have had a very great lows in terms of, being living in a hospital and being devastated in the beginning, I had great and sudden highs. So I had the whole press of India, covering this home.
This is all because of your husband's encouragement.
Yeah, I mean, he's, like I said, and also Lisa, I mean, she was the one who was like, paint and wow. And I mean, so much
appreciation.
Love and appreciation. And from my husband and her, like these two cheerleaders. And I painted and painted and painted. And for 1 month, we didn't meet, or maybe 2. We didn't meet anyone. I didn't talk to anyone. And Lisa used to lock up the door, and we used to have this fabulous conversations through painting. And I also did up my house very beautifully. So I don't know how. I had a dinner. I think Lisa had called her friends, and I called A.D. Singh and a few friends. He was one of my first friends in Bombay. And one of the people who came to dinner said, hey, we have to cover this house. Because very few people in India had open kitchens. Now, I've studied architecture in LA. So I brought the California kitchen to India. And this newspaper, Midday, this girl called Suchitra came to interview me. And she said, wow, you're so well spoken. I'm not going to write this. You write the whole thing. And her editor, Akar Patel and Meenal Bagel, read it and said, we want her to write a column.
Then you became a columnist.
So that's where I met you. I did the column on you.
Yes.
And so I got the center spread in Midday for a person who was hardly like few months old in Bombay. Because I won't count that 1 year in Bombay hospital. Right?
That was hardly, that was
that was hardly I was just few months old.
So you were not a Bombayite when you got married?
No, I was not a Bombayite.
Okay.
I was not a Bombayite.
But you have like Bombayite coming out of every vibration of yours, It's like you look like that means you've really adapted. How many years back did you come to Bombay?
I came to Bombay around 25 years ago when I eloped.
Oh.
My stuff was in Paris, believe it or not. I had my roommate pack it and send it to India. That's how madly in love I fell.
So, in Paris, mein aap apne husband se mili?
No, I came to India to make a collection in Delhi. I made a collection from Sanganer in Jaipur. I came to Delhi. I met my husband. I was one of the few girls who had a convertible. I was riding a convertible on Safdarjung Enclave, and he was in the neighboring car on a
And he's a
traffic
prince.
signal.
He's also a prince from the royal family.
So he revved his car saying, "Race me."
Oh,
And that's how I met.
oh, wow. And then you fell in love with him.
Well, I mean, we met the second time at a nightclub called Bale High,
Yeah, of course.
where he asked me for a dance,
That was the Maurya.
the Moria,
Yeah.
and that was the second time I met him. And there was no looking back. I mean, you meet a man of that grandeur. He's 6'2" and so
Handsome.
highly intelligent.
And handsome and
very handsome.
cheerful.
Very
and very, very
humorous.
warm. Yes,
yeah.
very.
And he really, that's why, I actually can identify with all the romantic movies and songs because I really had that world.
आप हिंदी फिल्में देखती हैं?
I see all films. I'm a film buff. I write on film. I inhale film. Good, bad, ugly. I enjoy film. And I can see a film from the mindset of a filmmaker. So when the whole world is trashing a film, I can actually see what that man was thinking and how hard he's worked at a film.
बीच में आप कपड़े डिजाइनिंग भी कर रही थी और मुझे याद है मैंने आपके लिए रैंप वॉक किया था
बिल्कुल
और आपके सारे कपड़े ऐसे they were like very royal, regal. कहाँ से आया ये आपके अंदर ये royal, regal? ये शादी के बाद से है या बचपन से आप ऐसे ही सोचते
तो मैं 10
क्योंकि आपकी स्टाइल भी मतलब ड्रेसअप करने का भी आपने बुल्गारी पहना है आपका ये जो गाउन है इट्स लाइक एवरीथिंग इज़ वेरी इवन व्हेनेवर आप कोई इवेंट भी होस्ट करती हैं तो इट्स वेरी क्लासी तो कहाँ से आया आपको
ये मैं शायद 10 या 11 साल की थी मैंने मम्मी की साड़ी काटी और मैंने एक ऑफ शोल्डर ड्रेस बनाया सो माई मदर वॉज ऑल्सो शॉक्ड बिकॉज उस वक्त तो कोई ऑफ शोल्डर पहनते भी नहीं थे और एक छोटी सी लड़की क्या कर रही है मुझ में ये बचपन से था और मेरे मामा ने एक बार कश्मीर के फ़्लाइट में बोला हम लोग सब कश्मीर जा रहे थे he said why are you looking like an imitation of Parveen Babi he meant it in a derogatory way but I took it as a compliment I was always wearing boots and एक बार श्रीनगर में मुझे मॉब किया लोगों ने मुझे जीनत अमान समझा था तो मैंने I considered it a huge compliment because
Both
I
are very
always
gorgeous
eulogized
ladies,
her.
yes.
I love the way she speaks, and it's ironic that she was in Bandra. I was in Bandra at the start of my life in Bombay, and we became very good friends. So I loved her, and I know her up close and personal, and she's no different from her film. She's as beautiful and charming, and as attractive. So I always had that sense of boots and skirts and hats. You know, Kunz, how fond I am of hats.
You love wearing hats.
तो लोगों ने
अक्सर मुझे it's a Parisian, Victorian वैसे वाला आपका
and it's not pretentious, you know. तो कभी-कभी प्रेस मुझे चिढ़ाती थी कि it may be for effect, but मैं तो बचपन से 15 साल की उम्र से हैट्स पहन रही हूँ तो फिर जब मैंने आर्किटेक्चर किया बॉम्बे में उस वक्त मैंने समझा कि मैं बहुत पैटर्न में जा चुकी हूँ आई एम रिपीटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ मेटाफर्स इन माई इंटीरियर्स I'd become too overconfident and I was ringing up my contractor and saying वो जो वहाँ किया था तो ये करना और so I thought I shouldn't become too comfortable with success and with a formula. So to give a shot in the arm to my design and to challenge myself I decided to do couture also. I didn't stop
designing. Architectural design.
So I went to Tina Tahilyani and I said, Tina, will you... she said, yes, do a line. I said, no. Just because I'm a friend of yours, I won't do that. I'll make a collection and I'll present to you. So I made a collection and I presented to Tina of Awesome. And उस वक़्त प्रदीप हिरानी बहुत famous थे. उन्होंने भी कहा please मुझे embarrass मत करो present. But I insisted. I said treat me like any girl off the road. And I made a presentation.
That's a little difficult.
Yeah. And I presented to both of them and they gave me a grand window of opportunity. I also gave a collection to a store called Amara. I was in Ibiza. I was in New York.
In ensemble. You had your
I was in Ensemble. I was in Amara. I was in Kimaya, I was in Samsara in Delhi, I was in Ibiza in Spain, I was in New York, I was in London.
And you didn't have any formal fashion designing training?
I didn't have formal fashion designing, but I had apprenticed as a fashion designer in Brisbane in Australia, and I'd worked as a fashion designer in Paris at Galeries Lafayette.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I came to India as an architect. I had a very devastating engagement. I very rarely speak about it, but I had an abusive relationship where I hurt my spine. I was very damaged. I went to Paris to,
Get
forget
out of that, yeah, to
the
forget.
wounds. I've never spoken about this. I went to Paris and I didn't want to do architect. I wanted a break. So I did fashion. I started doing collections with a company called Esprit that used to supply to
Very, very
Galeries
popular, yes,
Lafayette. I came to India around then. I made a collection. I was very, very successful. And around then I met my husband.
I believe he's Kanwar Rameshwar Singh Jamwal ji.
Yes.
कहाँ से है वो?
He's from Kashmir. His mother was a princess from Tiara. She was Usha Kumari Mankotia.
Oh.
And she came from a beautiful home in Tiara, a home that to me looked like Mansfield Park. They had stables.
Where is Tiara for our viewers? Where is Tiara?
Tiara is in Himachal. And it has stables and cow sheds and huge Saint Bernard dogs. It was like going back into England.
ये रियासत थी उनकी.
Yes,
वो उनकी
the
रियासत
mother.
थी. Mother की.
And my father-in-law is from Kashmir, and a very handsome, famous general called General Jamwal, who was part of Operation Blue Star. So he's also a historic figure of India.
He was in the Navy, no?
He was in the army. And my husband's brother is from the Navy.
Yes, I believe this. So
it's a very, very illustrious and famous family. And I'm very, very fortunate to have met my husband, because none of our, we're not at all similar. He's a financial genius. I'm from the world of arts. And we don't really have much similarity in terms of, so when, I question, is there a God? There is a God. Because there's no way I could have met a man like as beautiful as this.
Wow.
Yeah.
But मुझे बताइए, जब आपके हस्बैंड ने फाइनेंस किया, कहाँ से पढ़ाई की? Abroad या India?
My husband is a genius from IIM. He's a gold medalist from IIT. He's a gold medalist from IIM.
Wow.
And he's one of the stars from Lawrence School, Sona. He won the Kalinga Cup there, which is the highest honor in sports.
Oh, what sports he used to play?
Everything. From javelin to running and gymnastics and just about everything.
And he was also in the board of the Tata Sons, right?
My husband's on the board. He's an executive director with Tata Industries.
Tata Industries.
Yes.
Still there?
He's very much there, and he's the founder, one of the founders and the minds behind Tata Click, Tata E-Education, Tata Health. He was mentored by Mr. Ratan Tata, who he considers a guide and a friend and a mentor and a beloved friend.
आपके परिवार में आपके हस्बैंड के भाई के साथ भी कोई ऐसा हादसा हुआ था?
He proceeded due to a shooting accident.
A shooting accident?
Yes.
In the Navy?
Yes.
It happened while he was on war, at war?
He was on a kind of a mission where they are, doing work for guns.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's...
It was one of those freak accidents.
It's your mother and your in-laws must be very strong people, and you also must be strong.
Well, I think Rajputs and the army background, it prepares you for everything, and it makes you more stoic. So when you see my in-laws or my husband, you see stoic people who just carry on. And if you were to ask me, My mother also has always, said lage raho. So we live by the
Lage raho.
by the diktat that lage raho munna bhai.
अब आप दोनों अगर कभी ट्रैफिक जैम में फंसे, आपने कहा कि आपके हस्बैंड और आप बहुत अलग अलग इंसान हैं, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी आप दोनों का प्यार इतना भगवान बरकरार रखे, बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग है, लेकिन ट्रैफिक जैम में फंसते हैं तो क्या बातें करते हैं?
We actually can't stop talking. So I want to tell you one more thing for you and all your viewers, for all the girls who, a film star had once told me, a very famous film star, that, when I get married, I want a man to give me a 50-carat diamond on the Eiffel Tower. For all the girls who are looking for a 50-carat diamond on the Eiffel Tower, I want to tell them that you can't have a conversation with a 50-carat diamond.
Wow, amazing. Amazing.
So when I was at college in Los Angeles at Long Beach, हम लोगों की एक ग्रुप डिस्कशन हुई थी. तो सबसे पूछा गया कि आप क्या ढूंढेंगे
हस्बैंड में,
लाइफ पार्टनर में. तो मैंने सबने कहा ये डायमंड और फेरारी और टेस्टारोसा, और मैंने कहा कि आई वांट अ मैन हु इज काइंड टू द लेसर पीपल ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, टू द पुअरर पीपल,
एंड यू फाउंड वन,
टू द वॉइसलेस पीपल, एंड द सेकंड थिंग, अ मैन विद अ सेंस ऑफ ह्यूमर. And once when I was in Paris, I had a dream that I'll marry a man who I can sit at Café du Parc and have a never-ending conversation. So when I went to Café du Parc, I actually sat there with my husband and had a conversation. I actually met that man, and I took him. I said, you have to come with me to Café du Parc, because I had a dream, when I went to Paris after a broken romance, that I will meet a man who's like-minded rather than with all the trappings. So the trappings have come. I have it all. I have homes, I have cars, but that's not the man I married for. I didn't marry for all those things. I married a man who I was laughing with and had conversation with, and I had that rapport. So to all the girls watching this, or the boys, I'd say when you want a life partner, have a synergy, have a conversation, have a laughter, have value systems that match.
Yes, that's very important.
Because the diamonds and the Eiffel Tower will come. So I actually saw that when I stood at Opéra in Paris, that I will meet the man. And I did.
Amazing. You manifested it.
Yes. So when we sit at a traffic jam or on top of a hotel or even at a party, we don't need 20 people. So I see a lot of couples getting up on Sunday morning and rushing to brunches and parties. And me and Jammie actually groan when we have to go, because for us Sunday morning is about a conversation, about sitting in a razai and watching something together or chatting about our week. We have never-ending conversations.
Wow, amazing.
We can talk about, life. We can talk about Trump. We can talk about movies. We can talk about what we go through.
Trump
we
is
can
a hot
talk
topic.
about. Yeah, I've just finished a TEDx talk, and he wanted to know how it was and what did I feel. And while I do a lot of public speaking, TEDx was another ball game. It was there was a lot of performance pressure inside of me. And I came back telling him, I think I could have done better, So he asked me where I felt I could do better. So we have a lot, and he tells me things about, things that are great in his life, things that are not great.
So, it's that you're saying it. I think one of the most important things a woman should look in a man is also that he is the wind beneath her wings. And I can see that with Jammie and you, because he really, मैंने देखा है आप जब होस्ट करती हैं ये बड़े बड़े इवेंट्स, चाहे वो आर्ट फेस्ट हो, चाहे तो Jammie will be there and watching you from far.
Yes.
And smiling and meeting everybody. Guests will come to him, meet him. I mean, when I see Jammie, I run first to him. You know that. I always tell him, I'm going to my Prince Charming. I tell you. And he is really a charming prince. And वो देखते रहते हैं आपको क्या चल रहा है, फिर मुस्कुराएंगे, लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्ट करेंगे. That's so beautiful. उनकी आँखों में आज भी, पता नहीं आपकी शादी को कितने साल हुए, लेकिन आज भी उनकी आँखों में वो प्यार है, और आपकी आँखों में उनके लिए इज्जत और रिस्पेक्ट है. I mean, प्यार है. वही मैंने देखा है आप दोनों का. That's amazing equation. Amazing.
Kunz, I also feel that for a relationship, one has to really understand one's partner. And if a partner has a bit of, say, questions or you have to allay a person's fears. You can't fight with somebody.
So why are you feeling like this?
Yes.
तुम तो खामखा शक करते रहते हो या तुम तो ऐसे करते रहते हो.
You actually, so if I ever felt, now I know my husband trusts me implicitly, but I've also worked at the trust. If I'm outside, I'll send him a little video with you, or I'll make him speak to you. So in the beginning of marriage, both parties are a little bit questioning. You work to make that. It's like a plant. तो हर रोज पानी देना पड़ता है पौधे को. You have to nurture it. So relationship को भी हर रोज nurture करना है. It's not hard work, but it's definitely.
But it is work. You have to work at it.
It's love. And it's about taking time out. So we message each other, we send emails to this day. तो मेरे एक फ्रेंड को एक मैरिज में प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी, तो मैंने कहा चलो मैं आपके लिए एक ईमेल लिखती हूँ. So I wrote an email for her. It was quite funny because he was flabbergasted. He said this doesn't sound like
my wife.
But it did sort out the problem. So I always tell my friends कि don't fight, write an email. That what is the what are the,
क्योंकि आपस में बैठ के कभी-कभी ऐसा लगता है कि एक दूसरे को मारे तो
park it and deal with it tomorrow morning.
Park it and deal with it tomorrow.
Park it.
आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आप ज़्यादा privileged थी क्योंकि आपका सर्कल जो था जब आप मुंबई आई तो आपका सर्कल influential rich लोगों के बीच में था because obviously your in-laws were also from that kind of तो उसकी वजह से आप राइज कर पाई और जो दूसरी औरतों को लगता होगा आपको देख के अरे ये तो बड़ा इजी था उनके लिए वो तो she married
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं बल्कि उल्टी बात थी. मेरे कोई फ्रेंड्स नहीं थे यहाँ, मैं किसी को जानती नहीं थी. और इन द फर्स्ट मंथ जब मैं यहाँ आई मैंने मेरे जान पहचान में तो एक ही रिश्तेदार था मेरा. और मैंने उनको फ़ोन जब किया मैंने कहा आई एम फीलिंग पता नहीं आई एम गेटिंग अ सिंकिंग फीलिंग, आई एम फीलिंग स्कैर्ड. So she said, oh, I'm so sorry, मैं अभी फ़ोन करती हूँ वापस. And she called me when she saw me on the cover of Bombay Times many years later. अरे निशु बेटा, I'm so proud of you. So I knew no one and no one knew me. And किसी को मालूम भी नहीं था कि who's my husband. We are from the north, ना? So whatever grandeur my husband has had, he's a corporate guy working in the Tata group. ऐसे तो कोई बात नहीं थी कि लोग मेरे को बुला रहे थे. And yes, I mean the few friends that I had were the rich and famous. But Bombay is a unforgiving city. There's only place for people
who work hard,
who are successful and who are living the dream life. The rest of the world is struggling.
But वही तो ना आपकी ड्रीम लाइफ देख के लोग सोचते हैं वाह काश हमारी ऐसे, फिर सोचते हैं कि हमसे तो नहीं होगा.
ड्रीम लाइफ में भी बहुत स्ट्रगल है. अभी आप सोचिए कि कोई भी चीज़ हो, कोई भी चीज़ पाने के लिए स्ट्रगल है. तो सोचिए कि मैं जहाँ पे हूँ मैं सक्सेसफुल हूँ. पिछले हफ्ते एक बहुत करीब के फ्रेंड ने मुझे बोला कि तुम तो इतनी अच्छी हो, यू आर सो काइंड, यू आर सो जेंटल. एंड लोग कहते हैं कि तुम बहुत एम्बिशियस हो. अब एम्बिशियस होने में क्या बुराई है? मैं एम्बिशियस ज़रूर हूँ
और होना भी चाहिए, क्यों नहीं होना चाहिए? आप
क्वालिफाइड हैं. लोग अच्छी चीज़ों में भी बुरा निकालते हैं. फिर मैंने सुना किसी ने कहा कि आपको पब्लिसिटी बहुत पसंद है. That's a complete oxymoron because I'm a writer since the age of 15.
तो आप कुछ बचपन से ही
तो मैं बचपन से ही न्यूज़पेपर्स में हूँ, तो पब्लिसिटी के पीछे मैं क्यों भागूंगी? बल्कि मैंने आज तक कभी भी, एंड दिस इज ऑन रिकॉर्ड, आई हैव नेवर एवर हायर्ड पीआर. And I'm one person, Kunz, you'll never see me sending you a message, I'm on this TV and please see me.
But you don't go on these debates anyway. I'm glad you don't.
Whenever I go on all the debates. But I never ever send links. I never send you a message.
So you do go on news.
All the debates. I love the debates with Arnab. I love him. I love debates with Rahul Shiv Shankar. I love the debates with Rajdeep. I admire them. And I very often agree with them, so I don't see them being as debates. But I'm always on, I've just finished Streets of Gold with BBC as one of the few Indian spokespersons from Mumbai.
For?
for BBC
speaking
Streets
about
of
what?
Gold.
Speaking about on what?
About India, about life in
call
the
it
fast
Streets of
lane.
Gold?
Streets of Gold. I'm one of the few
But
spokespeople.
they actually have this name called Streets of Gold for Indian streets and Indian
For Bombay.
For Bombay.
For Bombay.
What is that supposed to mean? I mean,
It's just about how India's, in the Modi era, is moving forward. It's catapulting forward. It's finding its place in the world. And how Bombay is the life where you come and make dreams come true, which is what I've done. And then I was part of Bad Boy Billionaires on Netflix. I'm in talks with Netflix producers for more shows. So definitely, I'm ambitious. Why not? And I also feel that I've never coveted publicity. See, you don't even know I was on Streets of Gold.
No, I
I
don't.
never sent it to anyone. So I'm the opposite of publicity.
I think the cameras आपको बहुत पसंद करते हैं और जर्नलिस्ट को पता है कि आपके बारे में जैसे कोई रिपोर्टर को पता है कि आपके छापेंगे तो वो लोग पढ़ेंगे बिकॉज है आपकी एक फ़ैन फॉलोइंग है आपकी एक जबकि कहते हैं सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्समैन या सेलिब्रिटीज़ की फ़ैन फॉलोइंग लेकिन एज अ जो आप कर रही हैं जिस तरह से और आपके अचीवमेंट्स की वजह से देयर आर पीपल हु फॉलो यू
Yes.
कभी आप इंस्टाग्राम के कमेंट्स पढ़ते हैं
पढ़ती हूँ मैं हमेशा पढ़ती हूँ आई एम अ टेकी आई लव सोशल मीडिया एंड आई थिंक इट्स अ ग्रेट वे टू कनेक्ट विद पीपल हु यू डोंट नो तो आपसे अगर कुछ कहना है मैं व्हाट्सएप कर सकती हूँ लेकिन इफ समबडी वांट्स टू से समथिंग अबाउट माई आर्टिकल्स अबाउट माई पब्लिक प्रेजेंस अबाउट समथिंग आई सेड रॉन्ग ऑन अ डिबेट सो दे मैसेज मी
सो आपने आपको जो मीन कमेंट्स हैं आपने पढ़े मैंने तो आपका देख रहे थे रिसर्च के टाइम अब किसी ने फीमेल औरी कहा किसी ने कहा कि शी जस्ट वांट्स एज यू सेड पब्लिसिटी हंग्री तो हाउ
मेरे बारे में
हाँ हाउ डज इट अफेक्ट यू दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग
I must say I'm oblivious to negative comments. I've not read any. I normally see all the lovely comments or I've never seen a negative comments. And if they call me a female Ori, I consider it a compliment
I'm
because
sorry.
I think I don't know why he's famous. I don't even know what he does.
But that's exactly why I don't think
लेकिन
it's a
मेरे
compliment
एक
to you.
हिंदी ट्यूटर ने मुझे कहा कि my mother asked him कि how is she faring in Hindi? Is she getting better? So he said, मैडम और तो कुछ नहीं कहूँगा लेकिन मैं ज़रूर कहूँगा कि वो बहुत लेबोरियस हैं
So, मेहनती है बहुत
मेहनती हैं और मैं आज तक ये इस बात से सहमत हूँ कि पता नहीं मैं कुछ और हूँ कि नहीं लेकिन मैं बहुत मेहनती हूँ
मेहनत तो है
तो मेरे सारे क्लाइंट्स कहते हैं कि निशा यू नीड टू टेक अ चिल पिल वी आर वेरी वेरी हैप्पी विथ यू सो आई एम वेरी 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 हार्ड वर्किंग आई डोंट थिंक आई डोंट नो वेदर दिस ऑरी इज मेहनती
No, you can't say that you are happy about that because I would not agree that you're a female Ori because you've got a lot of achievements.
Yes.
You've got a lot of qualifications.
So I've really worked hard, Kunika. I was the first Indian to win the American Women in Architecture Scholarship in Los Angeles. I won the Student of the Entire Program award. Again, I was the first Indian to win that award. I won the Student of the Year award. I know there's a movie, but I genuinely won it. And I worked very, very hard. My roommate Amy Seidel used to tell me, come on, let's go out. It's the weekend. Americans are a very entitled race and they want to go out and party. And I was studying very hard because I was very conscious that my father was spending foreign exchange on me. And I wanted to validate that expenditure and I wanted to start paying for my own books and my tuition. So I started giving tuitions in English to Korean students. So when you say I've been, from a charmed family and I belong to the rich and the famous, I must say I've worked very hard.
And you continue to work.
And I stopped asking my father for money. And I don't think I've ever gone to my husband and said, excuse me, I want a Valentino or I want while I do want it, I earn it. I work very hard for it. एंड नाउ तो कुनिका ये नौबत आ गई है कि मैं नहीं खरीद रही हूँ हैंडबैग्स मैं जितना हो सके लैपटॉप्स खरीद के बस्तियों में दे रही हूँ और एक ज़माना था जो मैं बिना सोचे खरीद लेती थी भाई यहाँ हैंडबैग खरीदो जिमी शूज़ खरीदो बिकॉज वो शौक था अब जितना हो सके मैं सोचती हूँ कि कोई पढ़ लिख ले, लैपटॉप के ज़माने हैं, टैबलेट्स के ज़माने हैं, तो मैं जितना हो सके
मैं आपको अपने बारे में एक सीक्रेट बताती हूँ, क्योंकि मैं आपको पता है पिछले 40 साल से सोशल वर्क कर रही हूँ, मेरा एनजीओ है, मैं ग्रास रूट पे काम करती हूँ, आप सब जानते हैं बिकॉज आप मेरे एनजीओ के फंक्शन में भी आए हैं
और मैं आपको बहुत एडमायर करती हूँ।
थैंक यू। तो ये जो महंगे महंगे बैग्स है, इट लुक्स वेरी नाइस ऑन पीपल, आई लाइक, अच्छा वेरी नाइस, आप यू वेयरिंग यू कैरिंग अ वैलेंटिनो, यू कैरिंग बुगाटी, व्हाट इज इट, बुगाटी मुझे नाम भी नहीं प्रोनाउंस करने आता। तो मेरे बेटे का ये था कि ही वांटेड मी टू हैव अ वेरी एक्सपेंसिव बैग। तो जब पहली सैलरी उन्होंने कमाई तो ही बॉट मी, ही वाज वर्किंग, ही हैड गॉन टू, मतलब अमेरिका गए थे अपना स्टडीज़ करने के, तो साथ साथ में काम कर रहे थे। तो मेरे अयान, इन्होंने मुझे एक वॉट एवर ही कुड अफोर्ड उस सैलरी से, ही वर्कड इन क्लार्क्स इन अ शू शॉप, and because he wanted to, didn't want to ask for money from me, so he bought me Michael Kors, and उससे पहले he bought me a white color था वो, मैं भूल गई, Hermes का छोटा सा white color bag, and then after that he bought me Michael Kors, and I have preserved it, and he keeps saying कि मैंने अपना इतना मेहनत का पैसा यूज़ कर, मैंने कहा मुझे ऑकवर्ड लगता है, क्योंकि मैं जहाँ जहाँ जाती हूँ ना, वहाँ पे उन लोगों के पास कभी कभी खाने के भी ऐसे नहीं होते, और मैं ऐसा बैग लेके घूम, तो मैं जब किसी पार्टी में गई जहाँ मुझे पता है कि ऐसे मुझसे अच्छे बैग लोग लेकर आएंगे, तो आई यूज़ देम। तो ऐसे ही एक बैग वो एक बार मेरे लिए लेकर आए गुच्ची का, और मैंने बहुत डांटा उनको, क्यों लाए, ही वाज कमिंग फ्रॉम अब्रॉड, मम्मा व्हाट कैन आई गेट यू, व्हाट, ऐसे he spent a lot of his money on that, and I was so angry. And then he started crying, and the next day tell me, who gets so angry if they get a Gucci bag, yes, if I give it to somebody. और वो पड़ा रहा ऊपर, फिर मुझे उसने बोला कि मम्मा आप यूज़ नहीं करें तो किसी को दे दो। तो फॉर्चुनेटली इट वॉज माई डॉटर इन लॉज बर्थडे, तो हमने उनको दे दिया। बट आई एम सो कॉन्शियस, मैं नहीं खरीद सकती, और मुझे सबसे पहले जैसे आपने कहा,
there's no money for education,
exactly,
and for us to spend this kind of money, I've sort of gone off it.
It's very,
and also one more thing COVID taught us is that you don't need that much.
Exactly.
In a world of recycling, repurposing, I think we can keep using beautiful vintage bags and look as beautiful and as fashionable.
Yeah, there's such a lot of handmade, इतने सारे, हमारे देश में handmade bags इतने beautiful होते हैं, पुराने साड़ी से बनते हैं, और कितने eco-friendly bags बनते हैं. I think we don't need to get by that, but of course जो खरीदते हैं, जिनके पास पैसे हैं और जिनको अच्छा लगता है, that's their choice. But साथ में मुझे ये बताना था आपको कि जो लोग, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, जो लोग मिलते हैं, जैसे दोस्त, आप और मैं कभी मिलते हैं बहुत दिनों के बाद, हम लोग रोज़ तो बात करते नहीं, फिर भी हमारे बीच में एक ऐसा प्यार है, एक प्रेम है, तो हम जब बात करते तो हम ये नहीं पूछते कि अरे व्हाट डिड यू बाय, व्हाट इज़ योर, विच हॉलीडे डिड यू गो टू, ऐसा कभी हम लोग नहीं पूछते कि अरे हाउ मच वाज दैट हॉलीडे. बट आई जस्ट फील कहीं ना कहीं ये हॉलो कॉन्वर्सेशंस हैं.
तो कुनिका, आई वांट टू कम बैक टू व्हाट यू आस्क्ड मी अर्लियर. आपने पूछा कि मैं बॉम्बे आई तो इतने दोस्त, और आई वांट टू टेल यू कि while Bombay is the city of dreams, and while Bombay is a city where there are many beautiful aspects, it's also a transactional city. It's also a city about you are contextual to when you are rich, famous, and reinventing yourself continuously.
And useful to the other person.
Yes. So it's very, very, the third tip I'll give your viewers is it's very important to have friendships like you and me, where we can put our feet up, whether you're doing well, not doing well, famous, sick, not sick. You can have a conversation and a friendship till you're 90 or 100 years old. One has to invest. As much as you invest in your personal marriage or relationship, you invest in friendships, because and if you have 2 or 3 or 4 friends, you're lucky, because Bombay is, like you just said, a city, and I saw it in its raw form, because I came here 25 years ago. I eloped and I lived here, and I started life on a very, very shaky footing. I want to tell you that what you say is so true. When friendships are made based on bags and cars, मैं एक बार एक पार्टी से निकल रही थी और ये सामने के कपल को मालूम नहीं था कि मैं पीछे खड़ी हूँ, तो वो वाइफ ने हस्बैंड को कहा चलें, गाड़ी आ गई. सो ही सेड नहीं नहीं अभी नहीं, लोगों को आने दो, because he wanted people to see that he had a Rolls Royce. And that's one of the incidences that I'll always remember about Bombay. And one of my friends rang up another friend and told her, okay, you must come for my Diwali party, but you know, everyone who comes to my parties comes in a 7 Series BMW.
I would be the first one to say, well, then I'm not
so
I'm
that's
a
what my
misfit in
friend
your
told
party.
her. My friend says, then I'm not coming because I don't have a 7 Series BMW. So there are the real people. There are the wonderful people. There are also the young ladies who come from Borivali and Malad and Kalyan who are cutting vegetables in the train. It's a city of ambition, guts, gusto, and performance and women achievers. But there's also this side, which is which are the the paper tigers and the feet of clay, where you don't have depth,
any solid ground,
and that is what sometimes disillusions me. So when you asked me earlier, what can you have anxiety about, or when the man on Facebook said, oh, your life must be a garden of roses, I must say that I do feel disillusioned. I do feel I feel that level of
emptiness,
superficiality
of
in Bombay
people.
Sometimes. And that's the time when I turn to meditation, to heartfulness, to prayer, to daji, to ISKCON, to re-energize my batteries.
But you still go back into that same quagmire of things,
No, I don't, because my house is an ivory tower. It's a haven where I have a beautiful husband, I have parents, I have the reality of love and real relationships.
But people want so much from you. Like, we were sitting in the makeup room and you had calls coming for revenge. Don't you get tired? I just get tired. I just tell people, either I tell them I'm too busy, or tell them I'm sick, or just point blank say I can't come.
No, actually, I don't get tired for the there are two reasons. I don't speak on the phone much at all. So my phone is permanently on silent. So I call back when I want to, firstly. Secondly, I message when I need to. And thirdly, if I'm going, unless it's somebody very close, like if it's your birthday, I don't stay. I go for 10 minutes. So I don't go and...
I wouldn't let you leave in 10 minutes from my
No,
birth.
but that's because we're real friends. But if it's an event, or I'm obliging somebody, or it's something I need to do, I'll go for 10 minutes.
I call it my U-turn parties. I tell my son, I'm going to go for a party. It's a U-turn party. I go in, hello, 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 and I'm out. It's like that. So that's a U-turn party I do.
That's lovely. That's a new word.
Yeah, because I know that कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है कि लोगों को आपके चेहरे की ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि उनको अपने काम को थोड़ा वो करना है. तो वो मैं कहती हूँ, भगवान आपने दिया है मुझे ये पोजीशन, तो मुझे इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए दूसरों के लिए. तो जब मुझे पता है कि नहीं, दिस पर्सन रियली लाइक, जैसे आपने किया मेरे लिए, आपको मैंने कहा मैंने पॉडकास्ट शुरू किया, आपने 1 सेकंड नहीं लगाया, आपने बोला ठीक है मैं सो एंड सो डेट को आ सकती हूँ, बिकॉज आप ऑब्वियसली आपका बिजी कैलेंडर है, एंड देन आप बीमार हो गई, उसके बावजूद भी आप आ गई. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट फॉर फ्रेंड्स. एंड सो इफ समबडी हैज़ समथिंग लाइक दैट, आई से ओके, मेरे जाने से कुछ उनको प्रेस में आ जाएगा, छप जाएगा, जो भी है, तो मैं जाती हूँ. लेकिन उसमें भी मैं मैक्सिमम 30 मिनट्स भी नहीं रहती हूँ. सबसे मिल के फोटोज़ खींच लिया, इनफ फॉर द पब्लिसिटी एंड आई कम अवे. सो आई वांट टू गो बैक टू वन थिंग. इफ़ यू डोंट वांट टू आंसर, यू कैन, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली वेलकम. आपने कहा था कि आपकी पहली एंगेजमेंट बहुत अब्यूसिव थी और वो टूट गई, और उसके बाद आपको आपके जो करंट हस्बैंड हैं वो मिले. आपने एक सुखी संसार बसाया उनके साथ. जो पहला जो एंगेजमेंट था, इतने सारे जो भी आपने बर्दाश्त किया, पहली बात तो अगर बताना चाहेंगे क्या हुआ, और नॉट नेसेसरी, यू डोंट नीड टू टेक नेम्स, इफ़ यू वांट टू, यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम. लेकिन मैं इसलिए आपसे सवाल पूछ रही हूँ क्योंकि बहुत सारे लड़कियाँ हैं या लड़के हैं जो मायूस हो जाते हैं. लेकिन आपने एक खूबसूरत बागीचा सजाया, एक मुरझाए हुए फूल के साथ वक्त गुजारने के बाद, या आपको ऐसे फूल मिले जो एकदम मुरझाए हुए थे, लेकिन आपने उससे छोड़कर अपना एक खूबसूरत बागीचा सजाया.
नहीं, मैं ज़रूर बताना चाहूँगी, क्योंकि मैं इस बात से बिल्कुल शर्माती नहीं हूँ. और मैं समझती हूँ अगर मेरे एक्सपीरियंस से कोई और अपने ज़िंदगी को बना सके, तो मैं बहुत लड़कियों को बोलती हूँ कि इट्स ओके टू नॉट बी ओके।
अब तो लड़के भी बेचारे, वो भी आजकल लड़के ज़्यादा सेंसिटिव हो गए।
एग्जैक्टली तो मैं समझती हूँ कि बिल्कुल प्रॉब्लम नहीं है एक रिश्ता तोड़ना अगर असली में नहीं बन रहा है। फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज वन हैज़ टू कीप ट्राइंग. So that is why I even got engaged, because while it was not working, I was brought up to believe that relationships are forever, because my parents are forever. So when I get angry with my mother and I say, my God, you have bad choice, I tell my father. He says, no, I love your mother for many births, he says that.
How sweet.
Yeah. So I think while we grow up, especially in India, to believe relationships are forever, I think if something's not working, better for both people to be free and happy. तो एक और चीज़ मैं बोलना चाहूँगी, स्कूल रोमांसेस, कॉलेज रोमांसेस के लिए हमें बहुत ध्यान रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि दे आर मोर बेस्ड ऑन पैशन एंड फिजिकलिटी एंड you know, gifts and superficiality. So I think one has to weigh very carefully whether childhood or young romances will carry forward, and are they for the right reasons. Because बचपन में हमें लगता है कि ये होना चाहिए और वो होना चाहिए, and then our value systems and our you know, our requirements from a relationship change.
Also, you're not developed so much that you don't understand exactly.
So I kept bearing the abuse, believe it or not, because I kept thinking it'll improve. And he, poor fellow, was probably you know, a prisoner to his bad behavior or his,
like
or his nature.
They can't help themselves.
Yeah, so that poor fellow who was quite a, you know, indulgent and in his own way a nice person, couldn't help himself, and he even told me so. And he was so cooperative, he even came with me to KEM hospital to check if something was wrong with him.
After beating you up?
Yeah, he came to the psychiatrist because he was so keen to be with me, you know, and to make it up. So poor fellow, with due respect, it didn't work and I broke it up.
You had a trauma bond with that gentleman.
I didn't want to leave him, but my uncle Aziz Akhtar Mirza, who's a very famous producer and director, brought me to Bombay to do the sets of Raju Ban Gaya Gentleman.
Oh.
Yeah. So I came to Bombay. I already knew Shah Rukh from Delhi, and they were all very nice to me. And Gauri I've known since Loreto Convent. And I did the sets of Yes Boss, and before that I did Raju. And my uncle Aziz banned the guy to come near me.
He was also from a filmy background?
No, he wasn't. He came from Delhi to meet me. He was so smitten. But I was banned from meeting him. And even the sets didn't work for me because the set director started acting funny with me. He called me to some family room. Now, I could be wrong. But I felt that I felt uncomfortable with him. When I look back, I don't know if I was overthinking it.
No, obviously,
you know, so when newspaper channels and TV started asking me, Madam, can you give us a Me Too interview? I said, I have not had any Me Too, because I don't even know what is a Me Too, frankly. I went to my uncle and I said, you know, this guy, and he said, oh, I'm so sorry, maybe you should look for some other profession. Because that guy was the head of the set design, right? So to be fair, he could let me go, but how could he let his main set designer go?
See, this is the thing.
So there's a lesson I learned, a beautiful lesson, fourth lesson to the viewers, that you have to make yourself indispensable in life.
And the best at your job.
Yeah, because if you're dispensable, everyone's sympathetic, but you can't let the best man go. So that guy stayed and I had to return to Delhi, and that's when I joined a fashion house. And I went to Paris and met my husband and reconstructed life. And I met my husband, and I was open for romance, and I was open for a new relationship. And to all the women going through divorces and breakups, hey, life is dynamic. You live in the most overpopulated country in the world.
You'll definitely find somebody.
You'll definitely find somebody over and over and over again. And I want to tell you what my father told me. He said, hey, big deal. Liz Taylor got married 8 times. You still have another 7 times to
Oh,
go.
super.
Yeah.
Amazing. What
And
an
so
amazing...
if you have parents who support you, great. My mother was like, phew, I hated him. He didn't even know Shakespeare. My mother's first response was, I'm so happy you're rid of that guy. He didn't like Shakespeare. And my father was, oh my gosh, I mean, please don't worry. Marriage is obsolete. You please stay with us forever. And in case you want to get married, please get the guy home. Let him stay with us. And you have 7 more turns.
Oh, wow.
Because Liz Taylor got married
7
8 times. That's 8
times.
times. So I had very supportive parents. But even if you don't have supportive parents, what's the big deal? In life, I have found, Kunika, if you don't have challenge, if you don't have troughs, if you don't have rapids, you never ever learn. So tell me, do you ever learn from the good times, from the parties, from the gregarious moments? No.
You forget
we
it when the
only
next good time
grow.
comes.
And I don't know if you've noticed, I've noticed. When you see somebody compassionate, kind, thoughtful, somebody who's not uppity or throwing tantrums, it's normally a person who's gone through tough times.
They
And when
value...
you see, I've been on this side of the camera and that.
Would you like to have your tea?
I found that people are more compassionate when they've gone through tough times.
Yes, absolutely. They understand the other people. And you already answered this question, which I want. Do you find every person genuine? Which I think nobody can find everybody genuine.
I don't find everyone genuine. I don't find everyone to be... One of my best friends one day, I asked, she wanted me to find someone for her son. And I said, what are you looking for? And she said, I just want her to be fair. I was so disappointed, in her. I thought, I mean, here's an educated woman asking for a fair bride. I mean, she doesn't want intelligence, she doesn't want integrity,
Compassion,
loyalty,
yeah.
faithfulness, education. She wants fair. So no, I get disappointed very often.
But you
I
don't
feel
show it on your
hurt.
face. I've seen it a couple of times in the party. You don't show it on your face, but you'll suddenly turn and look around at me or at Abha, and then I'm coming back, and you'll move away from them. But you don't show like the disgrace or disgust. I think that's
but
your upbringing. That's your upbringing, I suppose.
Yes, it is true that I try to be as graceful as possible, but I do find that the world and Bombay are moving towards a kind of,
Softer.
superficial.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in a place where Instagram likes matter more than relationships. A woman, like the Urfi Javed syndrome, where you just bear all, dare all for anything, just to get noticed. I'm wondering if value systems, integrity, loyalty, intelligence, reading books. For instance, when, I was young, my mother said, the way you choose a man is, make sure he has a bookshelf in his house. Because if a person doesn't read, they're not introspective. So
They don't believe in growing.
Exactly. And by the way, the first person who I was engaged to didn't have a bookshelf. So
Mom was right. Mom is always right.
Parents, yeah. So they are both voracious readers. And so is my husband. So, those value systems, reading, loyalty, do they count? Is the city, is the world moving towards a space where deeper relationships, value systems, meeting a friend just for coffee, not for just any agenda, does that all count anymore?
I make it count at least. I feel. And there are people who do it and they're like, you must be doing it in your life. And you have a couple of times said, Kunz, just come over, just you and me will have lunch at my house. You've never
for
been
no
home.
reason.
Yeah, for no reason.
Yeah.
Exactly. There are people who make that effort. And I agree with you. But I really feel that the need of the art in today's world, in this unfair and hard world with all this, is softness, is that genuine compassion, and people recognize it when it happens. Where do you get your strength from, Nisha?
I get my strength from, first of all, from doing things the way I feel are right. Staying true to my value systems. When you know that you've done things pretty much right.
But everybody who's right doesn't get a fair deal in life. So how?
Yeah,
what do
but
think?
you get strength from it.
Okay, that you
So
say.
we are talking about strength. So in that case, you feel that valor and that sense of, hey, I did what best I could in my life until now. I get my strength from the most beautiful man or human being that I've ever met, KRS Jamwal. I get strength from all the people very much like you who've been there with me through all the ups and downs, of which there are many. And I get strength by the fact that whenever there's been a fall or a rapid or a trough, I've managed to get up and start again.
So you tell yourself, come on, baby, you can do this. It's like that.
Yeah. So falling and failing is not.
Impediment. मतलब वो आपके लिए
It's
एक
not
बाधा
a
नहीं.
lack of. It's not a failure. Failure is when you don't actually push yourself to get up. And for anyone who thinks it's easy, it's not. It's difficult to push yourself. There are days you don't want to, but you push yourself. Just two things in this last month. I had a TEDx talk, and I went to this faraway city to do it, an institute near Bangalore. And there was no AC in the room. They had booked me. The bathroom didn't have hot water. There was no soap. I managed. And when I went on stage, as I said, good morning, this is Nisha JamVwal, electricity went.
Oh my God.
It happened 4 times. But it didn't daunt me. It's a lesson. The 5th time, it went okay and I did the whole talk. And then I planned for this talk with you. And for no reason, out of the blue, I felt so sick. And then I determined last night that come what may. And I got up in the morning with this spark and this spring and this joie de vie that I'm fine and I'm going. So it's about working with your own foibles and with your own failings and making them into triumphs.
Working the adversities into
triumphs.
Yeah. You're very impressed with Amir Khan. You always said he's your inspiration. What is it that you like about him?
So I've interviewed Amir many times. I don't know whether in his book, but in my book, he's not a very tall person. It's like Napoleon. It's only been his strength. I've never found him arrogant. I've always found him more than personable, and yet he doesn't make this pretense of being humble. It's very natural, normal. I've enjoyed the choice of films he's done. I've enjoyed the fact that he's also lived by his own terms. So it's not that he's stuck to, one relationship. If whatever he's wanted, he's done.
Yes.
So he's not being holier than thou and, pativrata, whatever it's called.
सामने पत्नी है लेकिन पीछे सब चल रहा है. That kind.
No, that's not the way I'd put it. I'd put it that he's living life to his own terms in a way that doesn't hurt anyone.
No, I'm saying there are a lot of men who have their wife and everything, and they're having their affairs at the back, but when they come in front of the media or they come in public, they're holding hands with their wife, and you know that, oh God, this person is like...
So he's quite true and honest.
Yes.
And I also enjoyed the way one of the interviews I did, he just lent me a book by this famous filmmaker and film writer. He's a voracious reader. He's a thinking actor. He's not playing to the audiences. If you ask me, I know Kiran well also. I think one of the reasons she made Lapata Ladies was with his, impetus and his encouragement. And whatever lives he touches, he creates success. Also, I met him while he was doing Lagan. He doesn't go by a successful director, and Ashu was not anyone at that time. He went with a script which was fairly experimental.
Yes.
I think he gave Ashu that springboard. And I love both of them. I love Ashu. I love Amir. I just feel that he's very, very inspirational.
So, like Amir, who you think comes close to him in the youngsters in the film industry?
I think Ranveer does.
Ranveer
Singh
Singh or
doesn't
Ranbir
come
Kapoor?
from a film background. He's got a joie de vie. He's got an experimental nature. He's a little wild. I saw him the other day, and I was one of the audiences. He jumped up and came and kissed me on the cheek. He doesn't forget friends. He does movies that are experimental.
Yes, yes.
And he's what I admire about him especially is he's not from a background which is charmed. He doesn't have conventional good looks.
Yes, but
And yet he holds his own and he does a great job. I admire him. I think I also admire Arjun Kapoor, right?
Yeah.
Mona's son, a lot because
he's also been through some tough time.
exactly. So we talked about the time his mother, left for her heavenly abode, and he's been through a lot, and to be courageous and smile and so gracious
And being nice to people.
He's very nice.
Very
and
nice to people.
Whenever he sees me, he'll just walk up, and he's got that tehzeeb, you know.
Yes.
So I love him, and I respect him, and I like the choices he makes.
And he's always there standing by his friends. Tell me, you did this art show called Manifestations. What is it about?
Okay, so the last year I thought I've spent a lot of birthdays receiving magical gifts and presents. Last year I wanted to give all my friends a present. So I hosted a birthday where I had a workshop, a full day workshop on manifestations with Shreyans Daga. And he taught all my friends, 700 people at Royal Opera House, manifestation of their dreams. I wanted so there were two messages. One was that I wanted to give back. Second message was that in a world where I found a lot of women being about envy and competitiveness and jealousy and women pulling each other down, I thought let's be about allowing other women to get their dreams. So I called all my friends because I wanted to gift them the power to get dreams come true. So my message was, instead of pulling each other down, let's give wings to each other. And then last month I hosted an art show as a continuum.
Okay, that was one.
Where the paintings were metaphors of manifestation.
That was
Because I believe in manifestation and I believe in giving wings to one's dreams.
Who are your go-to people? मतलब आपके सच्चे दोस्त कौन हैं?
So the man I married is under the radar. He's not a well-known, in terms of the media, he's very shy. He doesn't like press and media much. He only speaks about corporate stuff and work. My best friends, you're one of the few people who's in the limelight. Most of my friends are not in the limelight, so you would never know them. But yes, I have my go-to people. One of my best friends is Vinod Mirchandani. I call him Vinny. He's been there since 28 years and always there. We complain and, even bitch about our personal lives. And there's my other friend, Nina Advani, who's been my friend for 25 years again. Amy Villamoria, there's you. There is my friend Roshni. I have a few very, very close friends.
You're talking about Roshni Damania?
Yes.
But I don't think you ever cry on their shoulder. No, you never. I don't think you ever.
I don't think I cry.
Yeah. Because you're so grateful and so much gratitude.
I doubt I cry. I cry only when I see something that moves me. I cried when I saw the movie Emergency because I remembered the riots after Indira Gandhi died, and I really admired the way Kangana essayed the role. I cry when I hear Mozart, or I cry when I see something that moves me. I cry when I see Phantom of the Opera. So
art and good
cry
creativity.
with art. It moves me. I get goosebumps.
That's a joy. That's a joyful crying. मतलब आप उसे देख के इतने गदगद हो जाते हैं कि आपकी आंखों से आंसू निकलते हैं.
I cried when I saw one of I think it was Starry Nights. I was at D'Orsay in Paris and I saw Van Gogh. He painted it when he was at the asylum, when he'd gone mad. And when I saw he'd not mad, that's the wrong word, when he was disturbed. I was standing there and the painting actually, I could feel that he was very disturbed. And I think he had cut off his own ear in pain and anguish. So I cry when I feel something very strongly, like I cried so much through Slumdog Millionaire that, the neighbors started saying shh to me.
आपके नाम पे निशा जामवाल JHAMVWAL, एक तो ये आपने V ऐड किया है और उसमें से एक लेटर जो है मतलब बड़ा होता है बीच में, नाम के बीच में.
So there's a very important reason and I'm really happy you asked me. It's JAMVWAL. There's no H. The V I put in for victory. When I was going through my darkest phase in life, after I got married, and I just thought things are never going to be the same again for me. I was standing at Bombay hospital corridors and crying. And my mama came and he said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "How insensitive. How could you ask me? Can't you see what's happening? My life is, falling apart all around me." And he said, "How ridiculous you are. Who told you life is supposed to be happy? Life is going to be full of challenges. The show must go on. Get up, wash your face and look sharp," he said to me. So I washed my face and I looked sharp. And around that time, Sanjay Jumani had called me. He'd read some of my columns already. And he said, I want to help you. So he said, add another A. So I said, I don't want to add another A because a lot of people are adding another A. Can you give me another option? So he said, okay, kahin pe bhi aap ye letters dal dena. So I chose V for victory. And I made it capital because I wanted to emphasize victory. Yeah. No, for me, I wanted to emphasize victory. And the press is so kind that they'll always put, my name is the only name. They actually dignify the capital.
And they change the font for that.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you this question. It might make you uncomfortable. You don't need to answer it. What actually happened 4 days after your marriage, that accident that occurred? Do you want to talk about it?
So we were on a honeymoon and my husband dived into the deep end of the pool and he hurt himself.
On his head?
On his spine. And we came out and to make him okay and we didn't know whether he'll live or not live.
So he passed out in the pool?
I don't know what happened. It's a blur. So don't ask me what happened.
You were also in the pool?
I was in the pool, yes. He has such a good sense of humor that when he said, help me, I thought he's joking. Because before we got married, I said, I'm a Maharashtra state bronze medalist as a swimmer. So I can teach you how to swim. And he said, oh, you must teach me. And he's a diver.
Oh.
He's a sportsman. So he was teasing me. So I thought he's teasing me, that helped me. So anyway, I knew something was not right. And anyway, we spent that 1 year getting back to on our feet. That's what happened.
You didn't get injured?
I got injured more in my heart.
In your heart. I was just going to say that.
I got so injured that I don't think I'll ever be the same person again. I don't think I'll ever know what happiness is. I don't think I'll ever be fully happy in my life. I think I'll always be joyous. I'll always have joie de vie. But the reason I've not even written my memoirs, though some of the biggest publishers have asked me, is for me to open the doors that you're trying to open today. Have you read Jane Eyre?
Yes.
So there's that room which is locked upstairs because it's so painful to that owner of that house.
To open that, yeah.
So I have locked everything in that room.
But why?
And I've not opened it. Because, you see, you have to aage badho.
No, or is it because you feel the world doesn't value?
No, it's
and
not
they're
that.
not
See,
going to,
Kunika, everyone finds survival the best way they can. And in fact, my perception is supported by today's age of, success and mind management. The new way of dealing with the world, even in the realm of psychiatry, is not to focus on
the others.
no, not to focus on the rapids and the troughs. It's to focus on moving ahead. There's no point going back and analyzing what was right, what was wrong. So many people go into their childhood and say, this was wrong. But the new way of coping is to figure out what is working well for you and moving ahead.
I have a lot of admiration for you. And in fact, I always had, but now...
So I didn't do the savvy cover when I was asked to do it. Because I don't want to go into, my quagmires. I want to, because I've left them behind. My husband and I are a very positive, very, a very aage badho personalities. If you come and spend time, you will always feel energized.
No, when I meet Jammie, I feel that he's like living life the way he...
Yeah, so we are both very happy people, and we don't want to focus on anything that is not, right. We want to focus on everything that's right.
But मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि आज के ज़माने में अगर ऐसा हादसा किसी के साथ होता तो सबसे पहले लड़की के माँ बाप या लड़की खुद बोलती मेरा लाइफ का क्या होगा, अब क्या होगा. हो सकता है वो शादी को तोड़ भी दे, हो सकता है वो किसी और से शादी कर ले, बहुत कुछ होता है आजकल. लेकिन आप डटे रहे. आप जैमी को, मतलब योर हस्बैंड, वी कॉल हिम जैमी प्यार से, आपने उनको भी हिम्मत दी और उन्होंने आपको हिम्मत दी. उन्होंने भी आपको बहुत...
No, that's actually, he gave me a lot of himmat, but it's not true that I gave him himmat. I was quite broken and upset, and I was not sure I'll know how to cope with life. And आप जब पूछते हैं कि बहुत लोग, no one can ever leave a man like Jammie. He's a star. And he was always fine, and he is fine. And
और आपके परिवार ने भी नहीं कहा कि अब क्या होगा?
मेरे father ने मुझे कहा कि this is the true test of your life. I want to see you. Our Kul Devi is, he told me, my father, our Kul Devi is a Devi called Rani Sati. So where we come from, you sit on a funeral pyre with your husband.
Sati.
And if you fail this test today, then you fail me and generations. My father said his father, had set up the Rani Sati temple at Junjunu.
You're from Junjunu?
My father is. I'm from Bombay. So my father said, if you fail this test, you fail me and everything we stand for. And my mother said that it's only up from here. Everything gets better from here. So look your best, wear your best clothes, and
show up.
And don't sit around in maudlin sentimentality. Those were her words.
What sentimentality?
Maudlin sentimentality. My mother was like, why aren't you dressed up? Get up and get moving. The world waits for no one. And no time for maudlin sentimentality. Get on with life.
I'm going to
write
Google
an article.
This word.
Write a story. So I belong to a very aage badho family. There's no time for focusing on the dead wood. That's what she's always called.
Yes, that's true. आपने सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के जब डेथ हुआ था, तब I don't want to call it suicide or murder because it's still... You wrote a very, very sensitive blog. It touched you a lot.
Because I see a lot of people committing suicide. I don't know whether he committed suicide or not. I hope he didn't. Because he's a Rajput and I am a Rajput. But there have been times I felt nearly suicidal. I'm betrayed by a friend. I'm an only child. So for me, friendship means the world. So there are times, you feel a friend is absolutely so superficial.
And you didn't realize it.
Yeah. And that kind of gets me, So I have felt that way. Of course, it's never been tangible or as if I've really gone and found a rope or something. I'll never do that. I'm a strong Taurian woman. I'm born on May the 2nd. So I'm a very strong person. Full 5'8" of me. But there are times I felt like I don't want to get up. And, after I got married and we went through all this, I'd never actually cried. Because everyone said you have to be positive, look strong, look strong. So when I lost my little baby, my Lhasa Apso, Ganimat,
I know.
that was the first time I actually collapsed. And I had to see counselors and do meditation.
I think that was the time when you sent messages to people saying, I lost Ganimat.
Yeah.
I remember getting a message like that.
Yeah.
And I called you and said, what is Ganimat?
Ganimat was, but he used to play with you.
Yeah, but then you said, that little
My
puppy,
Lhasa Apso. So that's when I did feel a little suicidal. I used to close the room and sit in this dark space. I came out of it. I did meditation with Daji and the Heartfulness organization. One of the messiahs of my life is Sanjay Bhatia, who's now the Lokpal of Maharashtra, a very senior bureaucrat. And if we have time, I'll tell you a funny story.
Please, of course we have time.
I got called by the sales tax to sort out some sales tax. And they said, Commissioner Saab ne bulaya hai. So I got so scared because I know nothing about sales tax. So I went up and I said, sorry sir, I'll sort it out. And he said, no, sit down. Do you meditate?
You
So
said
I
sales
said,
tax
no, I don't meditate. So he said, can you come to my house this evening? I want you to meditate. So I know about your life and I'm going to help you. So I didn't go to his house. And few weeks later, I was at the parlor and this lady was sitting next to me, and my hairdresser, who's still my hairdresser and somebody I love, my Vivek, he said, ma'am, ye sales, income tax commissioner baithe hain. So she said, I'm Sanjay Bhatia's wife. You come to my house and meditate. You haven't come, we called you earlier. So I went she said, I'm taking you with me. So in her that red BP car, she took me. And I started meditating. And that was a turning point of my life. Though I've always meditated, I've always prayed. I've been a very, very spiritual and religious person, not only spiritual. But that day it became a sort of helping point for me.
So you wrote about Sushant Singh Rajput क्योंकि आपने उनके दिल में क्या चल रहा होगा या क्या हो रहा होगा वो आप समझ के आपने लिखा.
मैंने सोचा कि शायद वो आउटसाइडर फील हुए थे. उनको इतनी रिस्पेक्ट नहीं मिली जितने उनको पता नहीं लगा कि नेपोटिज्म है या नहीं है. उनको लगा कि उन्होंने इतना काम किया है लेकिन शायद वो स्टार किड्स हैं उनको और वो कुछ नहीं करते तो कभी कभी उनको रिकग्निशन मिलता है. लेकिन मैं सहमत नहीं हूँ नेपोटिज्म से क्योंकि नेपोटिज्म अगर होता तो फिर आज अभिषेक बच्चन तो सुपरस्टार होते हैं वर्ल्ड में, विश्व में. तो मैं सोचती हूँ कि सुशांत को शायद लगा होगा क्योंकि मुझे अक्सर ऐसे लगा है कि आई एम नॉट फ्रॉम, आई डिडंट गो टू cathedral or to Bombay Scottish. My mother's from Bombay Scottish. I don't have those childhood friends, I don't feel that, in Bombay, when you're upset or you feel like the world is so difficult, can you call up a person and say, hey, I feel like shit today, can I have coffee with you? People are busy. People are so tied up with their own lives. So you
also
have to.
A lot of them are wearing a mask. They don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, there
inside.
are so many masks.
अंदर क्या चल रहा है उसको
So I
जानना
thought
नहीं चाहते.
Sushant had gone through that in case he committed suicide. That's what he may have felt. Alexander McQueen committed suicide. Kate Spade committed suicide.
Robin Williams
committed suicide. And I've written articles about all of them. Because I feel people are so ashamed. Because when my husband was and I were in hospital, I told my husband, I need counseling. And he said, listen, you're perfectly fine. You don't need counseling. Indians don't agree with meeting shrinks and counselors. They think if you're stark raving mad, you go to a counselor. But I've grown up pretty much in the West, and I believe if you even have a bit of heartache, you go running to a counselor, talk it out, get yourself fixed and get back to your work. So I like to reach out to people. So even if I find a spot boy going through pain, I'll hold his hand and say, hey, get up and get moving, have a
Aage
cup
badho.
of tea. Yeah. And everyone goes through shit.
I'm
Like
going
my husband says, shit happens.
So I'm going to ask you a question again. That is because it suddenly came to my mind. It's not part of my research. What do you think about Sri Devi ji's sudden death? Some people call it suicide. Some people call it murder. The families, of course, completely diss the whole thing about murder, that it was not a murder. So, which means it was a suicide. What do you think that this something similar was going on in her head, because she was a queen. She was the queen of all that she's.
Well, I find it very difficult to believe that she drowned in a bathtub, because I've seen her do movies in swimming pools. And you asked me who are my, role models. Apart from Amir Khan, I always eulogized her. I knew her. I've written about her. I've interviewed her. And I loved her. I thought she was one of those people who just always got up and moved on. And she was magical on celluloid. I don't know what to believe, but I definitely don't believe she drowned in a bathtub. There are so many conspiracy theories, but this is one thing. I don't know what happened, but I know that it's very difficult to drown in a bathtub.
If she did commit suicide, now we're just speculating because we don't want to make any judgments. If she did commit suicide, what do you think a person like her, because you also are somebody who's very famous, everybody loves you, you go out. She was also like that. Maybe she was 10 notches higher than you, or other celebrities. But why would somebody like that put their life to end if she did?
I don't think she could ever end her life, because having two daughters
Whom she loved to death.
whom she loved and was grooming, and she would never have wanted to leave them. Whether you leave a family, a husband, parents, you can't want to leave your children. And whenever I'm unwell, the reason I work so hard to be well and why I have vitamins and I'm so careful is I want to be alive for my husband and my parents. I want to be
children?
there for them always, whenever they need me.
Do you have children?
So I don't have, I had my LASAP, so yeah.
You don't want to have children?
I never wanted to have children. So I actually feel that Sri Devi would never have wanted to end her life. I feel very rarely would a devoted parent want to leave their children. I've never been a parent except to Ganimat. But I would not even be able to leave him in the house.
गनीमत है कि उसके लिए तो आप पेरेंट बनी गनीमत.
So I took him to Kashmir, I took him to Madras, I took him to Jammu. We used to take special suites so that he could go to the garden and do his things, So I know I couldn't even leave him home. So how could she leave her children?
In fact, I think I remember.
And two such beautiful girls, I can't believe it.
एक दो इवेंट में भी आप उनको लेकर आई थी गनीमत को. तो मैं आपसे फिर एक सवाल पूछूंगी, क्योंकि आपसे बात करते करते आपने क्यों इतने स्ट्रांगली कहा कि आई नेवर वांटेड टू हैव चिल्ड्रन? ऐसा क्यों कहा?
I feel that the world is going in a direction I'm not sure I'm happy with. Rivers are drying up, lakes are drying up. I went to school in a rambling building of stone with fields.
ये तो अब है ना, 25 साल के बाद आप ऐसा देख रहे हैं.
नहीं, मैं तो उसी वक्त देख रही थी जब मैं आई बॉम्बे में, तो स्कूल्स बिल्डिंग्स में हैं. मैंने तो कभी सोचा भी नहीं था कि एक बिल्डिंग में स्कूल हो सकता है. जो मेरी कंसेप्शन है स्कूल्स की, वो फील्ड्स होते हैं, फुटबॉल फील्ड्स होते हैं, फ्रेंडशिप्स होते हैं, जय और वीरू जैसे शोले में.
कौन से स्कूल में पढ़ी आप?
आई एम फ्रॉम लोरेटो कॉन्वेंट एंड फ्रॉम सेंट जोसेफ्स. बहुत बड़े बड़े स्कूल्स हैं.
सेंट जोसेफ्स कैलकाटा, Bandra, and Loreto Convent where? Delhi, okay.
So I've grown up in very charm. My college was huge with fields and gardens in America, and I went to Delhi University, which is full of gardens and forests. And there are no animals. आजकल तो बच्चे animals वो उस pop-up books में देखते हैं. उनको तो मालूम भी नहीं कि animals कैसे होते हैं.
काफी extinct भी हो चुके हैं.
And water keep, the 25 years ago, the environment program, I belong to UNGC. I work very hard for the environment. I've donated 5,000 trees to Lavasa. So I feel that what is the world coming to?
Which is why you
And
don't
brothers are killing each other, and I don't want to traumatize some poor child.
bring her into this or him to this world. So lovely having a conversation with you. Is there anything you want to ask me, or is there something that you have?
I don't want to ask you, but I want to say that you are somebody I love, and there are people like you in my life who I feel reaffirm my faith that there's still something, beautiful
sweet.
about the world and about Bombay. And I want to say that from the second we met, it was friendship for life.
Yes.
And whatever you have gone through and I have gone through, we've always stayed stronger and more grateful for each other because we have each other.
Yes, and I'm so grateful to you that you understand when you call me for certain events and I say no, baby, please, and you say I understand, Kunz. I understand. Don't worry. I said, such a relief. I don't have to explain.
No, not at all. There's a catch-22 situation. If you call somebody, sometimes they're not able to. If you don't call somebody and they read about something, they say, hey, she didn't call me.
No, please,
You didn't
I'll
call
never
me.
think that.
Have you forgotten me? So what I do is I call universally. Those who come. Those who can't, they don't come.
Yeah, but if you ever don't call me because you think, oh, she's not going to come, please remember, I'm never going to ask
So
you.
what
You
I
didn't
do
call
is I
me.
call everyone because I feel that they should have the freedom to make that choice.
Thank you. If you could redesign the Taj Mahal for an event in 2025, what would you change or add to it? The Taj Mahal, not the hotel.
Yes. I would make it more, a little more colorful. I would make it more, a little more pop.
Okay, more pop. But आपको पता है ना उसमें बहुत सारे नग थे जो कलरफुल थे जो निकाले गए हैं बहुत लोगों ने चोरी कर लिए
लेकिन quintessentially तो white marble
वाइट
है.
है हाँ इफ लग्जरी हैड अ सेंट अगर लग्जरी का एक खुशबू होती what would the Nisha JamVwal fragrance smell like?
Very passionate, musky, not like a rose.
Sensual, not like a rose.
Not like a rose, but more like something like poison.
Okay, like a strong, that poison perfume.
Yes, a strong perfume of, it's very specific, my perfume. It's a stronger perfume. It's not imposing. It's not, it's not,
But it has character.
yeah, it's not overwhelming, but it has a lot of character.
But मैंने सुना है और मुझे भी ऐसे perfumes पसंद है. Paloma Picasso used to have that beautiful perfume. तो Hermes has got a very nice 24 Fabry. तो मैंने सुना है जब आप if a strong woman, if she's strong and she's there out in the world, they generally like these. Chanel का भी होता था एक बहुत अच्छा strong perfume. So I've understood. Have you ever had to politely tell a client their taste was bad? What is the craziest reaction you've had?
A client?
That your taste is bad. Now, please let me decide for you because your taste is really bad in this designing or this.
Not really. Yes, I have had clients with dodgy taste, but I've sort of navigated it quite nicely. So I've managed to have bring a sort of balance. And that's what makes a designer a designer. So yes, I've had very tacky things happen and I've said, let's put this in a corridor, So, or do you think we can do without this? So,
बट बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग भी होंगे ना कि निशा जामवाल को दे दिया डिज़ाइन करने के तो अभी हम बीच में नहीं बोलेंगे बस हमको एक एस्पिरेशनल
Absolutely.
हाँ वो भी होगा ना
lots of, and one client actually told me to sign a home. And then one or two clients had a party to celebrate the home and bring their friends to introduce
say,
me
"Nisha ji,
as the
मतलब,
designer.
How nice. मतलब उनके लिए वो
And
था
one client, Mr. Modi, gave me 5 lakhs. After the project was over, he said, this is my gift to you. कि आपने तो ज़मीन पे बैठ के मोज़ेक डाला एक दिन और आप जैसे मैं कोई डिज़ाइनर मिला ही नहीं हूँ. So I actually sat on the ground on the wet cement and did a painting design for him.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. What's one piece of furniture or design trend you absolutely hate and wish people would stop using it?
Etched glass. You know those...
Etched glass?
Yeah, like those Moti Mahal and those... you know those dividers of rooms with etched
glass.
with those semi-frosted etched glass. I came to India, everyone was doing etched glass and only a specific kind of polished marble, whereas I feel there's so much to experiment with, like stone and slate. So I was very ahead of my times.
मतलब edge अगर बीच में आपको partition डालना है तो क्या डालेंगे अगर आज के
Onyx or glass, or you can do a lot of things. But you know, that typical kitschy kind of glass is avoidable.
What's the wildest or most expensive item you've ever added to an interior project? Did the client blink at the price tag?
The most expensive thing I've added to a project is Siddhartha Buddha, which is this high. He's sitting, and the project was my own home, and the person who blinked and still blinking is my husband. And he just couldn't get over the price tag, and he said we could buy a house in this amount. I said, so I'm buying it, you buy the house, I'm buying Siddhartha.
Oh, sweet.
It's a 300-year-old museum piece, and it's Siddhartha before he became Buddha.
Oh.
So he's disillusioned with the beggars, and he gets out from the street to sit on the side of the street because he's in shock, and he's still got his crown and his regalia. And when I bought that, my husband was absolutely, I mean, he's this time you outdone yourself. I just can't get over you. You know, he never gets angry ever, but he was genuinely flabbergasted. And the next day, because I'm so acquiescing, and I said, okay, I'll sell it. The next day he says, please don't sell it, I love it. You know,
It's because he loves you so much. But
the other clients who've said, the price tag, which is expensive, is something they've always agreed with. My clients have always stayed friends. They are still friends with me. I call them to my dinners and parties. I promised myself in life that I would never ever have a problem with a client. So I always make it a point to acquiesce and to make things okay. So whether it's a friend, a client, a relationship, a parent, I agree with saying sorry. I don't stand on ego, and I don't think ever that ego is more important than a relationship.
Amazing. If you were to collaborate with an OTT platform to create a show about your life, what would the title and tagline be?
Sunset through a sunrise.
Oh, sunset through a sunrise.
And I'm copywriting it on your show.
Wow. Why not sunrise through a sunset? That's exactly what you did with your life.
Yeah. Mutually
So
exchangeable.
boss, दोनों copyright है इनका. Sunrise through a sunset and sunset through a sunrise.
You see, because the sunrise stays. So the sunset has come and gone. But the sunrise has stayed.
Amazing.
So if you go to any house of mine, of which I have 6, you will see the sun emblem on my door.
Oh.
And my husband is a Suryavanshi Rajput.
Which is why you put the sun emblem?
For both reasons.
Great. I like the way you're so proud of your husband's family, and
Yes, very.
a lot of daughter-in-laws should learn something from that, because that will bring so much more peace in today's life. Yeah. Thank you so much. I would like a little bit of an endorsement, if you can. Guftagu with K, if you can tell our viewers to watch it and subscribe to it, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow a format.
मैं निशा जामवाल हूँ. आप गुफ्तगू विद के ज़रूर देखिए, लाइक करिए, सब्सक्राइब करिए और देखते रहिए.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mudma. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Yes,